In ancient days of kings and rulers, they generally uh, ran their office. Let's say, if we draw attention or the kings and the rulers ruled the kingdom from the fort. Generally, why the fort? The fort was where the treasury was. The fort was where the chief of army, along with the majority of the army, was present, guarding the fort, guarding the king, guarding the treasury. And the fort, it used to be huge in size. Sometimes the whole city was inside the fort. And there were trustworthy men, the general, the commanders, who ran the show on behalf of the king in managing people, managing discipline, in managing the activities within the fort. Drawing reference from the same, if we come to the corporate world today, for any CEO or the director of the company, the office is from where the central core operation happens. It is from where the CEO or the director takes the decisions on behalf of which the organization is generally managed, the resources generally recruited, the resources implemented, and the process made. A lot of meetings, a lot of collaborative understanding, and every other activity related to production or process happens from the director's office. So, for the director, the office is just like that old days fort from where he rules the kingdom, and the kingdom is the organization. So, let's talk about the treasury. The treasury was one part which the army always guarded within the fort. Just like that, in the corporate world, the finances, the finance department has to be constantly monitored, has to be constantly updated in terms of what kind of cash flow is there, what kind of necessity of cash or working capital or fund capital is required, and what is the present status of the capital in hand, the cash in hand, so that the new projects can be incorporated, so that more people could be recruited, so that raw resource production of the products. So when the finance department is adjacent or connected to the CEO's office, there is a constant monitoring, there is a constant update from the finance department to the CEO, which enables him to take a very, very sound and stable decision depending on the availability of fund flow. So, along with that, the fund which is in the finance hand or which is managed by the finance department is rightly utilized towards production of the products, resources, and recruitment of the human resources. So, constantly updated about the financial status of the organization, about the financial cash flow of the organization, so on. The CEO can take better decisions, better financial analysis, and can project better for new collaborative business in the coming days. Now comes second comes the army. The army, like the olden days, comprised of generals, commanders, soldiers, even the king himself. So, what is the army in modern day? In the modern corporate world, the army is your employees, right from the peon to the driver to the janitor to the CEO to the managers to the micro level managers and even the production unit workers. Everybody makes the difference collaboratively for the organization to grow. They are all playing their part as per their roles and designations and the skill sets as aligned. When they play the part very, very contributively, they contribute towards the growth of the organization. So the army, just like the old days, the kings, went out for new kingdoms and controlling the discipline within the kingdom and so on. The army was always there for new expedition, for new exploration, finding new land, finding new areas of expansion, and so on. So, with the help of the corporate army, which comprises of your managers, your other CTOs, other CEOs, the directors, the peons, the drivers, the janitors, and the working unit people, everybody, all cumulative is the army of the organization. So, when the CEO is constantly in touch with his army, let's say the corporate army, he knows what kind of skill set is available for utilization, what kind of resource is available for production, what kind of manpower is available for continuing the new project and taking new projects in hand. So when the CEO is constantly updated about the soldiers, or let's say the employees of the organization, he can take better calculative decision in terms of new market penetration, new collaboration, and new product or service release. So as the CEO, the army, the treasury, when it's taken care of, now comes the main part. The trustworthy, the kings used to run their kingdom with the help of trustworthy people. People who were loyal to the throne, people who were loyal to the king, and people who were loyal to the king's activity. So, similarly, in the corporate world, the CEO, the CTO, the director needs to have that group of trustworthy people who would be executing the orders of the CEO, the new process incorporated, the new process, and even when there is a deviation, these are the people who will bring back the employees and the process in its place, in its original place, as is expected as per the operation. So that group of trustworthy men, that group of trustworthy employees, that group of trustworthy subordinates is very important, because these are the people who would be doing the micro level work. Micro level activity, when contributed towards a collaborative approach, yields the result that the organization needs. Wherein the individual contribution is bypassed, let's say surpassed by the collaborative output. So these are the people, the trustworthy people, circle of trustworthy people who would be conveying the organization's vision as shared by the CTO, CEO, and the directors or the founders among the regular employees, among the regular people who are working at the floor, at the production level, or at the service level. So when these three parts are taken care of, the corporate office of the CEO, the head office of the CEO, or the CTO, or the director runs very, they can manage the business much better. Now, in the fort, in the old days, the forts were always upgraded with the latest weapons. The latest weapons, if any enemy attacks the fort, how to defeat them with the latest weapons. The weapons were constantly updated. The skill sets were of the soldiers were updated. The availability of resource was ensured, and this was all planned when there was no war. So, as I always mention, the war can be only won during a time of peace. The more you practice during peace ensures your success in the war. So, what is it about in the corporate world? In the corporate world, if we consider this as the fort from where the CEO or the director is operating, the office should have the latest technology, latest equipments available for connectivity, for sharing, for collaborative working, and for the virtual meetings, the conference, the calls, and everything. So that when it is required, like let's say, for instance, during this new normal of COVID, everybody has to do a virtual meeting, everybody has to do a conference. People who cannot meet in person, they have to conduct these meetings. People have to conduct those important meetings. So how do they do it? Is the infrastructure present? Is the software updated? Is the office having the updated internet connectivity, the latest high speed connectivity for ensuring a lot of people taking the calls, virtual meetings, virtual conferences, and so on. So the office should have the latest, hardwares, softwares, and the things which are required by the employees to deliver their best. The printers, the scanners, the plotters, the fax machine, the telephones, everything should be updated, everything should be checked, everything should be maintained so that when they are used without any hindrances. So, when you are or heading that organization, when you have these 4 points covered up, you can run your office very successfully, very efficiently, and very effectively. So keep in mind these 4 points, and I believe you can run the show much better than what you are running today. There has to be internal decorum, there has to be an internal discipline, there has to be a process followed within the office itself. So when you take care of these points, your workload is taken care of. You can work efficiently, you can take decision efficiently, you can deliver efficiently, and you can ensure the growth of the organization for which you are there. So guys, with that note today, I wind up this session of Morning Vibes with Career Counseling Online. Do take care of yourself, work from home, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive. And as I always mentioned, learn, contribute, and evolve. Take care, guys. We meet tomorrow. Bye for now.